To the photogrammetric unit of the Urban Police of Bari, we will dedicate, then, a separate space for the activity carried out in the urban police sector. On this occasion we will only remember intervention in areas affected by the 1980 earthquake. Intervention that should be reported not so much for the relief technique as for the constancy and the working method, which turned out to be of primary importance. The photogrammetric unit was established in 1980, and the intervention in the areas affected by the earthquake was a real test. I always remember when I participated too. At the first traffic accident survey, they used photogrammetry, but they repeated it with the metric tape. And I remember the answer I was given. Houses are always there and can always be taken over. But here, after the survey, everything is dismantled, and if, little by little, nothing comes out, what are we doing? Let's say that at the beginning they were still in a phase in which they used photogrammetry. But they did not abandon traditional methods. The earthquake case showed how unfounded this fear was. The fear that photography would not come. The fear that something would go wrong in development proved to be unfounded and no inconvenience occurred. But he trusted the operators themselves. The intervention was carried out according to a schedule provided by the Superintendency of Monuments of Potenza, which had reported a number of places and monuments. Initially the intervention was daily. 2 teams alternated, each made up of 2 policemen. After 15 days, it was preferred to carry out the operation on alternate days, with the unit consisting of 3 operators. They left Bari in the morning and returned in the evening. I want to show these videos to show that when technology comes to our aid, it's not that it solves all our problems. On this occasion the problem was not filming. That we have already seen in Venice was simple and discount. But it was like reaching the places and the monuments themselves. And how to move within the monuments themselves. The military training of the police was very useful. They intervened constantly, regardless of the weather conditions. When they arrived in Bernalda, the town was even isolated. And they arrived quietly. Move on roads that are interrupted or otherwise damaged by landslides, etc., etc. Therefore a certain preparation of the personnel was required. The slabs exposed have been over 3,000. And have been developed and catalogued in a professional training course after 10 years. This is because, after the first meetings with the superintendent, after the first returns made to demonstrate what could be achieved, this demanded the restitution of the reliefs. And, for each monument, plan, elevations and sections. So the survey time from 10 minutes, necessary for each shot. At least they increased tenfold. Without saying that expert architectural staff was required. Because it is clear that, while to shoot an object, just photograph it, so much information is acquired. But in the particular case of restoration, things change. The information taken from the frames and translated into graphic form must be finalized. And the return must be made by the restoration designer. But at the time the restitution took place on expensive devices, more unique than rare. And their behavior seemed justified. Today all these findings are on the internet, on the laboratory website. Just open the photogrammetric catalog page. And it is possible to trace the detected monuments. Both through the locality, both cross the name of the monument, or the date of the survey. From the internet it is possible to take the measurements, or download the frames, or return with a modeler. As we will see, perhaps, later. I believe that the usefulness of these findings is not so much for recovery purposes as for didactic purposes, because, in essence, already seeing the filmed images, we notice that there are real sections of buildings. So it is possible to study how they are built. Because they collapsed. It is interesting to see the arches. As they opened, the ashlar fell in key and everything collapsed. Or in some cases, the bow closed immediately and the ashlar was blocked. As in the Cathedral of Pesca Pagano. Or the bell tower that opened and swallowed the bell. These are phenomena that can only be analyzed with photogrammetric measurements. Even if today the surveys had been done with the laser scanner, it would have highlighted the whole skin. While with three-dimensional photography it is possible to analyze everything that has been taken. And what is not seen on a pair of frames can be integrated. Because each model is composed with multiple shots from different points of view. And then the photo interpretation remains. Which is a fundamental fact. The dream is to be able to reconstruct them through the students of the architectural survey course. With the editorial team, the virtual models, which can also be animated and simulate, to the limit, the collapse. Obviously according to the interpretation of each. All this put on the net is submitted to the judgment of others, can start discussions. Not in words, but in discussions. On how to intervene, on how to interpret these findings and therefore make culture, on balance. But on these matters we will return to the matter of restitution. And then, even better, about stereometric modeling. For the moment, as regards the recovery, I would stop here. On this same DVD we will try to analyze the individual techniques for each type of room. And combining the recovery with what has been achieved. Perhaps it makes the idea of how important it is better. Know the monument before taking it over.